All right. This is a review of Rock and Sand by Father Josiah Trenum. We are sitting here today with Sean, and he made it through the whole book from beginning to end, so we're going to do some quick questions and answers and thoughts and concerns. So, Rock and Sand. Was the writing clear, concise, and easy to understand? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the concept I thought was easy to understand. Some of the religious language, being larger words, were words I've never heard before. Mm-hmm. So that, throw me off a bit. But, the idea and the way it was written, the concepts I was able to grasp.
Follow along.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, maybe in the future I'll make that list I was talking about of religious vocabulary.
Like going over religious vocabulary prior to getting into that.
Yeah.
Then you at least have some background or knowledge of these bigger words that are being used.
Gotcha. Let's see. What were the major themes of this book, you would say, the overarching themes?
Well, for me, it was a historical learning. In a theme of, you've got the one church, back, 1,000 years ago, we've got one church. They didn't have a concept of all these other choices, and it just shows one guy comes up with a new belief or a different idea. And that branches off into this Reformation, Luther.
Much later,
you got, but so overall, it just kind of showed me like a breakdown of like where things start to branch off,
and create all these different, dividing lines.
Yeah.
Do you think the author was effective at conveying his message, whether you agree or disagree with it? Do you think he did a good job of putting his point forward?
No, for putting his point forward and using, references to back it up, scripture to back it up. So, he did a good point in arguing his position and opinion. Yes.
Gotcha. And I guess I should have started here. If you were to talk more about yourself personally, where do you fall on, let's say, the spectrum of Christianities? Where would you say you're at in faith journey, quotation marks?
My faith journey, I mean, I'm Protestant, so I attend the Baptist church here. I've, attended different Protestant churches, if you will, through my time, and so yeah, I mean, but even say being not on the opposite end, but
adjacent.
Adjacent. There you go. Another politically correct term for it. But coming from the other side, I think he makes his point, and so but at the same time, I just I really enjoyed the book more from a historical standpoint than trying to be persuaded one way or another.
Yeah.
I enjoyed just the history of things that I didn't know and terminologies I didn't know. And even, being Baptist, kind of where that falls in line of when it came about,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, when I first read it, I read it more as a historical thing too.
Yeah.
And putting this whole concept of where did all these churches come from?
Yeah.
And it just kind of like put that book helped put like stones in place, so to speak. Build a wall of continuity that made sense.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Has this look into history made you think differently about what the church is or anything like that?
I wouldn't say it's changed my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's given me a background, and kind of going right back into the last question, it's given me a history of say where things came about, when things came about. But did it change my opinion? I would say no.
Okay. What stood out to you specifically about this book that maybe you really liked or really didn't like?
Yeah, it was, I'm just, right off the top of my head, like this Calvin comes to mind.
Oh,
you know?
Calvin, yeah.
Just right off the top of my head, the Calvin and the tulip, where, the predestination, that he's really into and all that. And, anyway, I'm not one that believes in predestination. Yes, I do believe we can lose our, salvation as well.
Yeah.
So it's not we are saved by, by
it's
faith alone
it's
type
a
of
striving
thing,
type.
where, we, several places in the Bible, but our faith without works is dead, so.
Awesome. And if you were to say, what were this book's strengths or weaknesses, what would you say?
Again, kind of going back to the first question, strengths is that, he makes his point,
Very historical.
and then he is able to back it up historically and or with, scripture and stuff like that. So I respect the writer and the priest that, put this together. Just historically, you can't argue with the book.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's really hard to.
Again, did it change my opinion? No. But historically, it's hard to argue with, So I respect the writer and that he did a good job of putting it together. And, he's got solid proof and historical facts that he backs this up with. So, that I appreciate about the book and the author.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That concludes our short little interview.
All right.
And
bye-bye.